What is going on, guys? It's Fragger here again, and I know it's been a little while since the last video, and I do apologize about that. I did not intend for there to be this big of a gap between videos, but the project that I was working on during that gap took a little bit longer than I initially intended it to. Which you can see a little sneak peek of that project in the background here, but I'm not going to show off the whole thing, so if you guys want to see that, you have to wait until the end of this video. But this project is probably my biggest and most detailed build to date. I didn't actually do the math on that, but for the sake of a clickbait title and thumbnail, I'm just going to say that it is because it's definitely really close. But anyway, let's go check out what this place looked like before I built it up. So here it is. So it is a very spacious and wide open cave. There is a lot going on here, and it does go on for a little while, but I don't think I'm going to take full advantage of the size of this cave. I'm just going to be building in this main area here. I don't want this project to get too out of hand, and we all know how that turned out. So I think I'm just going to try and limit myself to this area right here. So my plan for this build is to try to make a cave city, which I have not done yet in 1.18, so I'm a little bit late to the party here. 1.18 came out a while ago. I don't know why it's taken me so long to build a cave city with these new caves. Now I do want this cave city to feel a little more abandoned and like it's been taken over by nature, and it's been sitting here for a while. And there are a few ideas I have for like main structures in this city as well. Like I do want to have some sort of city hall type thing on top of this cliffside here. I think that would look very grand and epic looking over the city here. And then I also do want to have this aqueduct thing going through the middle of the city, kind of dividing it, I guess. I think that would look really cool and really grand, and I do want the scale of this to feel pretty grand and epic. So hopefully I do a good job of accomplishing that goal, but we'll see how I do. But anyway, that's enough talking about this build, so let's start building things up. So I started this guy off by lighting up the area I wanted to build in with some glowstone, and I also set out some of the paths here as well in this clip. And here I just really wanted to get a good idea of the space I had to work with and how I should sort of plan things out and go about building this place. And I know the glowstone is a little bit useless because there are mods out there that increase your brightness so that you don't need stuff like glowstone, which I did eventually end up downloading one of those mods. But then after I got a good idea of what I wanted to go for and how I wanted to lay things out, I started building up some of these houses here. And for these houses, I wanted to do a pretty simple design for them. So really just like basic shapes, not a lot of block variations except for adding texture variations, of course. So my build palette for these houses was literally just stone bricks, stone, and spruce wood. That was all that I needed to build up the base structure of these houses. And then after that, I added some texture variation and also added in some azalea leaves as well, and put them on these buildings to make it look like they were sort of growing on them as vines. I may have gone a little bit overboard with some of these leaves, but I think for the most part it's fine. Some of you may disagree with that, but I think that it's probably fine. It does ride that line of maybe being a little bit too much. Then after building up some of these houses, I kind of wanted to mix things up a bit, so I decided to start working on this aqueduct here. And I did go through a few iterations of it and made some changes along the way, and World Edit really helped with that. So I did end up making it a little bit shorter, and I did have to widen some of the legs of the aqueduct, mostly to make room for some of the pathways, which I probably should have built the aqueduct first and then laid out the pathways, but it is what it is. And I also put in some leaves and texture variation as well, and I think the leaves on this one are perfect. I don't think it's too much, but I also don't think it's too little. And then getting started on this other half of the city, I wanted to start this one off by building up some sort of government building, kind of like a courthouse or something like that, just like government offices or whatever. But it ended up looking like a church in the end. You guys may be able to tell, it really looks like a church. I don't know why it looks like a church. I think it's just the structure of the building and the fact that there's this big tower off to the side. But I am now halfway done with this build, and I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out so far. So I have this government building here, which looks a lot like a church. I know, before I get a bunch of comments about it, I know it looks like a church. And then I also have this aqueduct here. I'm very happy with how this thing turned out. And I also built up some more of these houses, but I probably already talked a lot about this in the video so far. So I'm going to go over my plans next. On this half of the city here that I have yet to build up, I mostly want to do shops and more like poorer houses, you know, like houses that people in poverty would live in. So the other half of the city is like the rich people, and then this half of the city is the poor people, sort of, and like shop owners and all of that stuff. So that's kind of the vibe I want to go with here. I do want to add some spruce walkways along the walls so I can put some houses in the walls here and kind of make it feel like it's this city of shacks. I don't know how to describe it, but that's kind of what I'm going for here, I guess. You'll probably understand a little bit better what I'm talking about once I start building it up, but I don't think I'm going to do that right away. I do have a couple of other places I need to build up some houses over here, so I think I'm going to take care of those first, and then I will start building up the other half of the city. So for this half of the city, I did start off by building up some of the more quote-unquote rich houses. I did record this part of the video like a day or two after I recorded the last clip, so I did kind of forget what I was going for here, and I did end up remembering it though. So I did end up doing the rest of this half of the city the right way, but I just left these houses here because I didn't feel like tearing them down and rebuilding them. So that's kind of what happened there, and that's why these houses look so similar to the ones that I was building up before. And I kind of made a little bit of a mistake here. So I know I said I was going to make this half of the city more like shops and then poorer houses and stuff like that, and I kind of didn't do that with these houses here. But it has been like 2 days since I recorded that clip explaining what I was going to do over here, so I kind of forgot that I was going to do that over here and ended up building these houses instead by accident. And I don't feel like tearing them down because that would add a couple of extra hours to this build. I mean, tearing them down is going to take a while, then I have to rebuild them. So I'm just going to leave them here and then continue on with the rest of this half of the city like I was supposed to. So I do apologize about that. There was a little bit of a mix up there. But anyway, I'm going to continue building up this half of the city and we'll see what it looks like in the end. And I am building up a bunch of shops around here, and I did build up some market stalls in one area as well. I think those turned out great. And then I also built up these spruce walkways that run along the walls here. I think they look amazing. I also added in some houses up there, so it kind of makes sense for them to be there. And I am overall very happy with how this side of the city turned out. I think this is way better than the other side of the city in the end. So I am very happy with that. And then to finish off the building here, I decided to build the town hall type building on top of this cliffside. I think it turned out okay. It wasn't as big or grand as I was hoping it would be. I was really expecting it to be just this big grand epic thing on this cliffside, and then when you're down in the city you look up to it and you're like, wow, that's huge. But it just kind of looks average. I don't know. It's not as grand as I was hoping it would be, so I am a little bit disappointed about that, but I still think it looks good, and I'm pretty happy with the final results of it. So that is pretty much it for the main part of the building here. There are a few little details and stuff that I still need to add in, and there are some other buildings that I want to build up as well, but those are mainly just regular houses. You guys have seen plenty of those already in this video, so I don't want to bore you guys with that stuff, adding the details and building up some more houses. So I am just going to do that stuff off camera, and then we can cut to the B-roll, which is going to happen right now. So there is this abandoned underground cave city. I'm very happy with how this one turned out. I think it looks great. I really like these spruce walkways on the walls. I know you guys have probably heard that a lot in this video, but I really do like these spruce walkways. I think they look amazing up here, and the fact that they're kind of crumbling and falling apart makes them look so much better. I also really like this aqueduct here dividing the city. I think it looks so good. It is so big and grand and epic. I love it so much. And that town hall thing on top of the cliffside, it's not as good as I was hoping it would be, but I still think it looks great. It is a good addition to this city here, and I'm very happy with it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this build and this video as well, and if you did, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button down below if you haven't already, and leave a comment down in the comment section telling me what you liked about this build or what you liked about this video. And if you have any suggestions for builds I should do in the future, then please make sure to leave those down in the comment section as well. And of course, if you guys didn't like this build or you didn't like this video, then leave a dislike on the video and a comment down in the comment section telling me why you didn't like it. But anyway, that is going to be it for this build, so I will see you guys next time, and as always, don't forget to keep building.